Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. So this time we're going to focus on segment 3 of my Blood Rage board game miniatures reviews. So the first segment, of course, is not, I didn't call it segment 1, that's just the overview, and then I'm making a separate segment for each of the the parts of this huge miniature collection. So far, each segment corresponds to a clan. So we've done the wild boar and the ram, and then today we're going to be looking at the first set of painted miniatures that actually comes with the core Blood Rage board game. So this is going to be the Raven clan, and again we're going to start with the clan leader. So he's one of the most complicated ones to paint. So here he is with his totem pole. I think it's quite beautiful. Here you go. So this is the Raven clan leader. A little bit close up. You can see all the detail in his armor. Really, really nice. Here's the back. This has one of my favorite totem poles. It's really nice and elegant. Again, you can kind of appreciate the raven motif. Again, the detail on the base is a very nice touch. It is a tremendous amount of labor when you think about it, because in order for them to customize each of the bases, they do literally have to cut each single miniature off the plastic base and then re-glue them. And of course, in doing so, you do run the risk that the miniatures themselves might snap off during shipping, which, a few did. Again, hopefully you can appreciate in close up. This is the magic distance, all of the finer details that go into one of these pieces. All right, so that's the Raven clan leader. Let's take a look at the spears. So the Raven clan is one of the most challenging miniatures to sort of build and paint, because their spears, of course, are made out of plastic, and so it tends to warp. So as you can see, this is not too bad. If you really wanted to straighten them, you can use a blow dryer, but I'm satisfied with sort of how straight these pieces are. It does spoil the illusion a little bit, but doesn't detract from the paintwork. So here's the spear. And then this is one of the Raven warriors. This is the type A, so to speak. He's holding his helmet in one arm underneath with the left hand, and then the spear in the right. And then they each have ravens on their shoulders. So obviously they're called the Raven clan. This is the motif of Odin. And the two ravens for Odin are memory and thought. You will see Odin later on as one of the gods of Asgard. So there you go here. Beautiful detail work on the armor as usual. Okay. Have them get back in line. And let's get another one. So again, this is one with a special base, a little more texturing, stonework. As you can see subtle changes in color. They're all a little bit different. Really, really nice. A little bit of hair in that one area I can get rid of. You can see the horn, the swords. I mean, they're all so amazing, but I have to say that the raven sculpt and the painting is sort of is one of my favorites. You can really appreciate sort of the time and the added details that they put in to bring these little guys to life. Sorry, I don't have a more professional way of sort of showcasing this work. I think there's ones where you have like a light box, and you got cloth for the background and the floor and all that, and there's even like little turntable they can put these miniatures on. But I'm not actually a big collector of miniatures, really. This is the first and the last board game that I'm going to commission so much painting for. And so I don't have all of that paraphernalia set up. And since I'm mainly a big statue collector, it's unlikely I'll invest in what's necessary. So hopefully this is enough to kind of showcase the beauty of these painted works. Especially some of the facial detail at this scale is amazing. And again, I'm going to compare this to the unpainted versions a little bit later on, because you bring out so much detail, you can appreciate so many things that you didn't before. Like for the longest time, I didn't know that they actually had the ravens perched on their shoulders, and which may seem like a ridiculous thing, but when you see the blob of plastic, that's the unpainted version. I mean, I don't think it would be too big a stretch to think that you wouldn't notice. So he's got black hair again. Mina, the painter who did a lot of this work, all of this work, kind of, showcased a little bit of individuality as I requested, to give you the, kind of the idea that these are not all identical soldiers, even though they're identical game pieces. Give each one a little bit of character. I mean, for me to admire this, I can only imagine like how long it took her to sort of go through the project, painting over 100 separate miniatures to this level of exacting detail over such a long time. And that's a big, big project. And each piece has so many details. There's very little areas where you can, kind of cut corners here or there, be a little bit more efficient. So again, wanted to compliment her on doing such an amazing job. Okay, so those are the four type A warriors. Here's type B. So here the spear, of course, is held in a different grip. This is what the other warrior looks like. He's got his helmet on. No ravens this time. He has an axe instead. Having this against the black turntable, I think, helps with the contrast. Again, really, really nice work. The Raven clan has the most spears, and so they're the hardest to put in the boxes or to protect the paint. Now the nice thing about Top Miniatures is that they did lacquer and varnish the final paint job to protect it. So the seal is actually pretty thick. I actually accidentally dropped one of these, and didn't suffer really any damage or chip at all. So that lacquer is pretty strong, I'll tell you that. Looks good. As you can see, there's a little bit of a little tiny paint thing off the gray. It's easily camouflaged later on. By the way, in case you're wondering, there are magnets at the bottom. Every single one of these, over 100 of them, have hand drill and then 3mm magnets glued in place. And that kind of helps to store them. And I'll go over that at the end of all of the reviews to show how, how to sort of, just sort of make this compromise between protecting the paint, obviously, but also, creating a situation where we can actually store them in a reasonable fashion. Okay, here's number 3. You can see a different colored beard. Really, really nice. You can see a lot of the nice details on the head of the spear. Great work on the wooden shield, the armor weathering, the boots. So yeah, when I was first commissioning this set, I was sort of thinking to myself whether I really even wanted to play them. But now that I actually have kind of handled them and got a feel for, again, the level of paint work and the quality of the paint and the sealing, as long as you don't handle these things with greasy fingers or whatnot, and you just play with them very occasionally. It's not like you have game night every night. Absolutely, I'm going to use them for real board games. It's sort of the fun of getting these painted in the first place is to kind of appreciate it. Playing the game with a painted set is just so different from enjoying it without it. Here's the sword on his left hip. All right, there we go. So those are the 8 soldiers, 4 with a spear in the right hand facing up, and the other one kind of twirled around about ready to go to do battle. Let's take a look at the mystics. So we're back with the Raven motif. Here we go. All right. Pretty interesting. You can see the missing teeth. That's cute. And a much more detailed raven, actually, which is really cool. Hold on a second here. I need to maybe get some of these guys out of the background. So the camera doesn't focus on the wrong thing. So you can see the raven. He's got some teapot, I guess, no doubt, used for casting spells. And again, keep in mind that this is from plastic. Normally, the best paint jobs obviously are when the sculpt is resin. But again, this is a board game, not actually like a Warhammer 40,000 collection of miniatures. And so it's all plastic, making, you know, sort of the achievement here all the more amazing. You can see that the sword here is a little soft. It kind of looks bent almost, but again, that's to do with the plastic casting. You can see the teeth, little gold in the chain around his neck. They have a little tiny raven skull on the hood. So again, pretty amazing detailing. Okay, let's get the other one up. This is his brother, the brother mystic. Again, you can see some very subtle differences in the coloration. It's kind of interesting that the Raven Mystic looks like such a witch. It's almost like a hag. But the soldiers are kind of like, you know, these classic knights with their heavy armor, their spears and shields, and the Mystic isn't armored at all. She's like basically looks like a little witch, like a hag, literally. Just an interesting juxtaposition, in my opinion. So, very neat. And then of course, how can we forget the ship? This is interesting in the sense that the sail is the same color as the base, right? Blue sail, blue sea. And then of course, the glory marker with the skull painted on it. And then the player tokens. This is what the Raven 3D token looks like. Did a great job there. Put a little bit of accent highlights. And again, you can't do too much with these player tokens. You know, they have to be the right color. But within the confines of that, you know, I think she did add in a lot more texturing, a little bit more highlights, the eyes, the tongue. So, you know, overall, very neat. It is unfortunate I don't have a, again, second set. These are all kind of expansion exclusives or Kickstarter exclusives. I think this was actually part of the Kickstarter exclusive given with the Wild Boar Clan, but there's an opportunity to get these in other sets later on. So I don't have an unpainted version to kind of compare, but while the colors are the same, again, this is a lot more detailed. So to give you an example, this is actually what you use in the original game. So you actually use cardboard cutouts as your player tokens. So obviously, you know, you can look and compare the two yourself, what's more cool to have. This guy or, you know, this guy. I don't think there's any doubt what's more awesome. So there you go. This is what's in the, again, the core. Now it does make it easier, of course, to store when you have just like a cardboard little cutout, but in my opinion, not as cool. Okay, so we're gonna have our guys stand together. So this is the 4 warrior types for the Raven. You got the clan leader, the soldier type A, soldier type B, and of course our mystic. And of course now, as an added bonus, I'm gonna have these guys take a step back. We'll have a chance to actually now finally compare between the painted and the unpainted version. So check it out. I did this with other miniatures, but you really get an idea now. Like this is what Mina got shipped to her. I actually took this and she had to clean it up, get some of the mold lines away. And then of course you can see what the base is like. There's like no base at all, essentially. And then she turned it into this work of art on the left. So hopefully you can kind of compare what she did. Pretty remarkable. And then the spear. You can compare the two again. So for being plastic, this is actually pretty nice cast. A lot of the detail did come out. But you can just see how this is sort of like a lumpy piece of plastic with nothing. You can't really appreciate it. It's just like, you play with this and it's like, okay, fine. They're so small. You can tell. So that's why you need, by the way, the color of the base, right? This is permanently glued. You need this color because without the color, and if it's unpainted, it's really hard during the game to actually distinguish, which soldiers from which clan. But of course, beautifully painted, you can tell immediately which soldier is which. I dare say you don't even need to have the colored base to be able to instantly tell, that this is a Raven clan. So, comparison, left and right. Next guy up. Look at how bent the spear is, so I have to straighten that out. So a lot of people may be thinking that, the painting you just have to paint, but no, you have to kind of clean up, get rid of the lines, the mold lines. You have to rework some of the pieces. A lot of work involved in building these miniatures beyond just painting them. So again, here's the unpainted version. And you can see again the striking difference between the painted and unpainted versions. Okay, finally, our mystics. So pretty striking. Hope you enjoyed that. This is the first of the regular core clans. I have to decide on which clan we'll do next. I guess whichever one I feel like, I suppose. But this is the Raven, which is again the very first of the core miniatures that I reviewed, and that's why we have a chance now to kind of compare the painted versus the unpainted versions. The reason I have double, of course, is because again, Top Miniatures bought their own Blood Rage board game. Well, I bought it for them. So this is the ones I originally got on my end. So you can actually compare and contrast the two. So I kind of like that. Again, goes to show you the sort of work that was done. So hope you enjoyed that. They're all going to take about 20 to 25 minutes, especially if I'm going to compare with the unpainted minis. So until next time, for segment 4, another clan, do take care.